y'all, Marvin here from Blacktop Banter. Really quick, just wanted to talk about the 800 Pavement Network. As you can see, we have some lettering there, lettering on our other truck over there, lettering on this truck here. They all say 1-800-Blacktop. We've been using the 1-800-Blacktop number here for the last couple of years. It's really been exceptional for us as far as making things click with our branding, and now that we're in another state, those area codes are together. It's worked out fantastically for us. The other thing is that 800 Pavement Network has other advantages. There's group discounts on a lot of the products and materials that we use within our industry. We're part of over 300 different, see that one? Over 300 different contractors that are now using these numbers all over the country. That's combined over $2 billion in gross profits. So if you've been thinking about it or you're curious about it and you're like, well, oh, should I or shouldn't I? DM me, message me, or reach out to 800 Pavement Network. You can find them online through their website. You can call 1-800-Pavement and you'll get them as well. They'd be happy to run you through kind of the advantages and everything else that we've been taking advantage of here at Wiscote and Wilk Asphalt Maintenance, and how it can benefit you as well. Once again, if you're curious about it at all, you can always DM me. So yeah, 1-800-Blacktop. You can DM me or message me or email me through the podcast or Wiscote or wherever as well. I would love to talk to you about how it has helped us. Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Blacktop Banter. This is episode 70. And as I said, we're going to mix it up coming up this summer with some guests. And I'm really excited about this guest. I had a great opportunity to be a UAG, which is the User Advisory Group member with Echo last year. We had a great experience, had some great fun. We finally got back to the GIE Expo. Got to meet everybody, got to test some products out, got to meet a whole bunch of people and just network. And it was fantastic. And one of the people that I met along the way is my guest today, Jason Wilk. Jason, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Jason Wilk. So I'm a senior product manager for Echo Power Equipment, and really truly excited to be on the show here with you today.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks. So tell us a little bit about Echo. Let's get a background. You guys aren't that far away from us with the headquarters, but then kind of tell us about the history of Echo a little bit too, if you could.
Sure. Yeah. Not too far at all. We're a couple hours away. We're in northwestern Illinois. So Echo's roots actually have kind of started in Illinois back in 1972 out of Northbrook, Illinois. So with this being 2022, it's actually our 50th anniversary being here in the United States. So it's kind of been a year-long party at Echo. Kicked it off at the GIE Expo last year. Just really exciting times. I've been with the company now for over 20 years. Awesome company, awesome products, but probably one of the things that a lot of people aren't aware of is kind of Echo's contributions to the power equipment industry since we came into the United States back in 1972. But believe it or not, we actually invented, the world's first backpack blower, which I know is a critical tool in your occupation.
Yes, sir.
We invented the world's first handheld blower. We didn't invent the world's first string trimmer, but our engine was used on the world's first string trimmer. So a lot of industry firsts, and I can go on and on. We call them power pruners with chainsaw on a stick. First, walk behind handheld stick edger. So just a lot of contributions to the industry. We've always been known for our really, high quality, high performance two-stroke engines. Now we're starting to get into continuing with two-stroke engines, but getting into some of the battery products, which we can talk about a little bit later. So just excited to see where the conversations go.
It's a great contrast at this last year's GIE, because on display was what I'm pretty sure was one of the first backpack blowers, which actually was like a fogger built into that or something too, I had noticed, right? And then all of a sudden a light bulb must have clicked in somebody's head and they're like, well, this thing moves stuff out of the way pretty good too, right? So then we started building up. So you had that machine there on display, which was amazing to see. But then also hitting on the 50th anniversary, we had the 50th anniversary Echo that had been given away. Some of these backpack blowers, the black ones, they're beautiful. Crazy contrast between the two, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
So what was that did I hit the nail on the head with that first one? Is that how it was? It was kind of like used for something, and then all of a sudden the light bulb clicked, and people were like, "Well, man, we can blow stuff out of the way with this thing too."
Yeah, what's kind of funny is we say we invented the backpack blower. Well, we did, and we kind of did it, right? I mean, for years, Echo had been selling, which basically we call a duster mister, right?
Mhm.
So picture a backpack blower with a liquid tank up top.
Yep.
And you would put, your insecticides, pesticides, whatever. It's basically designed for maintaining kind of small farm plots, personal gardens. And it was a really good tool for basically dispersing those chemicals throughout evenly through over a pretty large portion of air or of the area. So we had started selling these to some dealers in Southern California, and they order like 2, and then like the next day they order 2 more, and then they order a pallet. Now you got to think this back in 1975, so like a pallet of duster misters at Echo was like, that's a huge order.
A big order, yeah.
So everyone's all like, "Oh man, this thing's really taken off." And then all of a sudden, about a week or 2 later, we started getting the water tanks, just the water tank portion of the unit, sent back to us.
Oh, okay.
So all the engineering service jumped on. They're like, "What's going on?" Right. So they get these tanks, they start pressure testing them, right? Looking for leaks, looking for cracks, going, what's going on here? And they couldn't find anything wrong with them. So they called the dealer that was sending them back in Southern California and saying, "Why are you sending us these water tanks?" They're like, "Well, we don't need it." And it's like, "Well, how are you using a duster mister without a water tank? Like, it doesn't make any sense."
Right.
And he said, "Believe it or not, we have some landscapers here that are removing that tank. They're putting a piece of sheet metal where the tank used to sit, and they're just using the air to blow grass clippings and leaves and garbage." It's really common in California to use kind of hedges as your like property dividers, right?
Yep.
So stuff just gets accumulated under there, right? And the only other alternative was actually kind of get on your hands and knees with a little rake and pull this stuff out. So they found that they can go from one side, kind of blow the debris out into the driveway, blow it in the pile, and pick it up.
Crazy.
So yeah, we sent engineers out to the field and actually spent some time with these landscapers, and they're like, "Yeah, it would be great if you could just make one of these units without that stupid water tank on it," right? So,
right.
So we did it, and it was 1975. It was called the PB9. It was the power blower, Model 9. And it's kind of been, the rest is history from there, right? I mean, it's the thing just kind of, you don't have a landscaper crew that's not using some type of blower, either backpack, handheld, right, on a daily basis. So it was a huge contribution to the kind of the green industry.
Yeah, and then kind of you see that kind of evolved over time, because then all of a sudden it went off people's backs and got put on stationary blowers, which is huge in our industry, right? Every asphalt company in our industry has a blower of some kind. Right. And now you're starting to see a lot of companies that are in my industry touting Echo backpack blowers, or any other company's backpack blowers, right? But that's become, because of the power that I've noticed with Echoes, like you're starting to see those more and more, to where they're actually competing very well with these big 6-horse push blowers that people are pushing around. And you're a lot more versatile, up against the buildings. It's hard with those push ones, and you can just have that mount with the tube and go ahead and get stuff out of the way quick. And if it's powerful enough, you use it for the rest of the way. My crew did a job today. I showed up very first job, and they were using the PB9010 to do the whole entire thing. And it was like, man, things sure have changed from when I started this business, man. Like it's changed a lot.
Yeah, that technology is throughout the years. I mean, when I first started Echo, this was back in the late 90s, we had what was called a PV650, right? And it was a 650 because it generated 650 CFM, right? It was the most powerful blower in the world. We're like, if you want more power, you're gonna have to strap a walk behind blower to your chest, right? Like you're maxed out at 650. 650 CFM, and then you fast forward today with the 9010, we're pushing over 1,000, CFM, 1,100 CFM. It's just crazy to think that. I mean, you look at our current 9010. I mean, that thing has a high performance 79 cc 2-stroke. That's almost like a small dirt bike engine.
Yes,
after
sir.
You're back with a fan on it, right? So
the guys always joke that we're starting up a snowmobile. Because that's what it almost sounds like when we're going. Right. you get going, you don't really feel it that much on your back. It's
Yeah.
really versatile. Let's touch on that a little bit because I had a hand blower given to me when I first started, and it was
Yeah.
an Echo hand blower. So it was the gray body,
Yeah.
like when it started, and that thing was bulletproof.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I realized like it was bulletproof, but it's not quite good enough when you're going to be doing a parking lot. So then we started graduating, right, and getting onto the different ones. But for Echo, I think, has a lot of the ties through the years has been to landscape and lawn care because that's where everything had been touched for a while. But now you're starting to see that with some of the versatility, there's a lot of guys that are posting pictures or videos in our industry, in the asphalt industry, and there's Echo equipment in the background, or that's what they're using, and these kinds of things. So with Echo's current line,
Yeah.
there is a amount of tools there that are absolutely 100% capable in our industry as well.
Sure.
We already mentioned the 9010, but even some of the smaller ones, the 770, some of these other blowers are fantastic for that. The other line, which I always like, is the PAS. I always love the combination. We can take this out, throw this in, take this out, throw this in. And there is a couple of those. You want to kind of hit on those ones as well?
Yeah, so for the kind of asphalt service industry, I know when we first moved into our house, no one ever maintained the driveway, right? I mean, this thing was I don't think it's probably been sealed in 10 plus years. It was to a point where there was just so much loose gravel and asphalt on the top, right? I remember just trying to, use like a broom, and I'm like, I'm going to be here all freaking day. Right.
Yeah.
So, everything from like that pro attachment series, we have that pro paddle, and it's crazy to think it's basically like a gas powered broom. Right. But it's got the, rotating rubber paddles, and that thing will just move a massive amount of gravel, rock, debris.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Usually I'll see the seal coat guys, bust out a trimmer, line trimmer, and kind of cut back the grass and stuff that maybe is growing right up to the asphalt. I don't see too much with edgers being used, but I see that we do have a what's called it's like a wire wheel. We call it a crack chaser, right? But for kind of cleaning out expansion joints and clearing out, deep crevices, you actually put that on a stick edger, and that thing will just go to town on cleaning all that stuff out. So yeah, I mean the seal coat industry, from like you said, the blowing, the grass trimming, the pro paddling, if you got a lot of heavy gravel and debris, to an edger with that crack chaser on there, those are all pretty important tools for your industry.
Yeah. And like I said, we have the PAS, so we'll take we have the pro paddle, but we have the bristle head too.
Yeah,
and we'll use that one to clean concrete up or move some of the light debris and stuff. We still have to use our steel bristled street brooms to really get the dirt up. But if we can get a lot of that debris away, that does help you out quite a bit. But then we can take that off real quick, and that string trimmer attachment with the auto feed head. The guys absolutely love that one, man, because all they got to do is just keep going, and it's light. That PAS. I think we have the 2620. It's a light head on the back, and it makes the machine light. Now, when we grab one of our other ones, usually they have a bigger motor. They have that steel hard bristled head onto it, and you got a strap going over you because you're like, man, I'm going to be here a while, and it's going to hurt my back. But that other one, the PAS 2620, when the guys are doing light driveway work, if they have a backpack blower in that PAS 2620, they have everything they need to get it prepped, right? As far as power equipment goes. One thing that we have always wanted in this industry, and I've heard rumor that at one point it was made and it didn't hit because it just wasn't used in the right area, was a rotary head, like that bristle brush I'm talking about, but with steel bristles. Have you ever heard or seen that thing that was created at one point?
I have. So something that was actually designed, I don't think it ever went in production by Shindaiwa. So for those of you who don't know, Echo acquired the Shindaiwa brand back in like 2007. So right around there, they had and I've seen it. It was a wire bristle drum, but it actually had like little carbide tips on it.
Yeah.
right? So picture like every piece of wire with a little carbide tip on it, and it was just designed to be kind of a more aggressive bristled version than like what
Yeah.
you have there. But I think for whatever reason, it never went into production. I don't know why.
Yeah. I think that it was just not thought of where it would be applicable, right? But
Yeah.
for us in this industry, the one tool that you cannot live without is a steel bristled push broom. Now
Okay.
we'll use those rotary heads on it on whatever, but then we ultimately have to go ahead and get that steel bristled broom at the end and really get the impacted dirt up. And
Okay.
of everybody that I've ever known, no matter what brand it is, when we have a rotary head going, your mind is always like, if these bristles were steel, my whole life would be so much
Okay.
easier. And I know we talk about it sometimes in our industry at our expo and things, and the guys are like, immediately every single person would buy one that is in this industry.
Okay.
That attachment, that head would go. So I don't want all the credit for it. I don't want like
Yeah.
any piece of it. I don't want anything like that. But if there is one and they do have the rights to it and they want to bring it back and they want to see how it would work, we would be glad to. I'm guarantee you there's probably 100 guys would love to R&D that sucker
Okay.
for you and put it through its paces. And I did see Shindawa had like a real narrow one too at one
Yeah.
point, man. It was like
Yeah.
maybe 5 inches wide, right? And I
Yeah. Yeah.
thought,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
heck was this thing ever used for? I would love to
Right.
be able to go back and be like, what was this one used for? Why was this
Right.
designed? Why was that designed? But I
Right.
have seen it, and I know a guy that has a brand new one on the shelf. The Shindawa's never been ran. That attachment has never been ran. I should
Okay.
just get it and just hang it up in here and be like,
Right.
oh,
Yeah.
that'd be cool for us to have. So, touching on that,
Mhm.
on some stuff that we hope to see in the future on the asphalt side, as far as R&D and stuff gets developed and things
Sure.
try, it's really nice to know that Echo is paying attention to our industry as well now quite a bit, and to be like, okay, guys, and we have asphalt seal coating and contractors that are on the UAG now, right? So
Mhm.
I may have been the
Yep.
first one to get over there, but they're opening up, listening, and we really appreciate that. What does the future look like for some of these tools, Jason, for our industry? Is there anything where we're like, okay, we see these guys are using it, maybe we're gonna adapt or cater to that a little bit or think about that in our R&D?
Yeah, when it comes for like perfect example, like you were saying for the Pro Attachment series, it's such a versatile product line. We're always looking for feedback and looking to ways to expand that product offering, right? I mean, originally it started with a hedge clipper, string trimmer, right, and a pole saw, and it's grown in the 16 plus attachments now. So any kind of application, I think your idea is fantastic with that steel push broom. I have it jotted down in my notes to kind of follow up that thing. But I've even seen some concepts of, all right, maybe you got a huge divot in a parking lot or something where the water's just sitting there. The rest of the area is perfectly dry, but if you just had this one puddle gone out of there,
Yep.
is it something we can use like a flat surface pump, right? To put
Yep.
right in that puddle and pump it out, and maybe that's a little curve shaft attachment that plugs into your Pro Attachment
That's
series,
cool.
right? A little
That's
transfer
cool.
pump. I mean, there's really that power head is we can really do kind of anything with it. So I think what you're going to see from Echo is kind of more specific type of unique applications for the Pro Attachment series there. Maybe we'll get you your steel push broom attachment
Oh
one
my
day.
gosh. I'm telling you that will literally change the industry if that
Right.
happens. I promise, man. It's so crazy, but I'd be super excited for that. Yeah. When we think about that kind of stuff,
Yep.
it's kind of what's kind of crazy is to see that Echo is the company that could do that, right? Because we started out with a fogger pesticide sprayer that all
Right.
of a sudden now is the 9010 T or the H. We don't use the H in this
Yeah.
part of the world.
Sure.
I know the guys, I had this conversation at GIE last time with the
Yeah.
guys that do. I never even had seen anything like it. And I
Yeah.
was like, all right, we're T people over here. So
Okay.
Echo is the company that can do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about not developing product and making people buy it. It's developing product that people want. I think part of the UAG, or even before the UAG even was in existence, we were always collecting feedback from the users on how does it make your job easier, faster? How do you, get in and get out? How do you put more money in your pocket? If that's something we could develop a tool to allow you to do that, I mean, we're all ears.
Cool, man. What are the chances of us seeing an Echo booth at one of the asphalt expos in the future? Do you know that by chance?
Um, it's a great question. We kind of have our main corporate, type trade shows, and there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of regional accounts that go on throughout the country.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not personally aware of any, but if you have kind of some key shows, I'd be happy to kind of dive into it and see if there's any opportunities
Oh
there for
man,
us.
the guys in our industry at National Pavement Expo would be
Okay.
ecstatic to see you guys there, because there is great companies there. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of vendors. It's the
Yeah.
largest expo in the asphalt maintenance world by
Okay.
far. And it's I'm not trying to be like, hey, this is the greatest thing in the world, but there's no other power equipment company
Okay.
there. Now there are, like you said, companies that sell products that are
Yeah.
displaying there, right? But there's no major one there. But between that one and the World of Asphalt Expo,
Okay.
there's not too many bigger ones. But I just know that when we were at GIE, we had
Yeah.
at least three asphalt company guys that came there specifically to see Echo's product line for what they were going to be using coming up. Now I know three guys isn't a lot, but at the last National Pavement Expo, I'm pretty sure the numbers were into the thousands, right,
Okay.
of people that attended, if not way more than that, maybe tens of thousands. I'm not quite sure the numbers,
Okay.
but it was a large number. And I just think that if just myself and a couple other guys, I don't claim to be a genius, my friend, but if our brains go, oh man, that would be great if this was made with all
Yeah.
these other eyes from our industry on it. God, I gotta imagine there'd be some great innovation and things that come up. And not only that, it's always fun to put your hands on the equipment,
Right.
right, and test it out. And Echo always does a great job, whether that's indoor or outdoors displays, for doing that. When people want to find stuff out about Echo,
Mhm.
where would be the very first, like some of the products we've talked about here, where would be the
Yeah.
place they would go probably right out the gate?
First place would be our website. So it's echo dash or hyphen, whatever you want to call it, USA.com. So echo USA.com. And then really from there, you can kind of spider into whatever you want. We have all the different product pages with specs, uh, suggest a retail price. A lot of times there's demo videos. And then you can even get right into, finding your nearest dealer if you want to go see some of these products or see who your local Echo dealer is. Also with connections to all our social media platforms. I think we're
Oh
on pretty
yeah.
much every one out there that exists. So um, the website would probably be the best go-to out of the gate, and it can get you wherever you need to go.
Yeah, one of our good friends, Scott Morris from Art City Seal Coating, he's a geek about this stuff. He loves the spec pages, man. Like when we talk, he's like, well, this one, it has this much CFM and also puts out this much torque for this amount of time, whatever. I'm like, does
Yeah.
it clean the blacktop or not? Like that's what I need to know, man.
Right.
So thank you very much for that. I really want to pick your brain one more time before we
Sure.
get going. Where we are, like we're just a little bit north from you guys, a couple hours or
Mhm.
so. If I could get a piece of advice from you as far as our power equipment, what do you think would be the best piece of advice, whether it's from storing it over the winter or whatever
Yeah.
it would be, to keep those things going? Because there's no worse feeling than getting to a job, whether that's right out of the spring or whatever, and going to pull it
Yeah.
and it don't start, and you're like, what in the heck happened?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
would be a really good piece of advice for guys that have the power equipment?
Yeah, there's really kind of three things that come to mind. So number one, the kind of, well, I'll say the two biggest enemies to any power equipment is going to be heat and dirt, right? So heat being the first one. You know, I've seen this equipment, you know, there are a lot of times they're coated in, you
Oh,
know, tar and all this
oh yeah.
material, right? You know, all these are air cooled engines. They're running really fast RPMs, right? And they rely on a fan to basically pull air in through kind of around the crankcase and around the engine and out again. If that area starts getting covered in tar, it's like wrapping yourself in a blanket and running a marathon, right?
Oh
So
man.
keeping the equipment clean, and even just like keeping debris like leaves and grass clippings, and, you know, find out where your air intakes are. You usually can see them pretty easily, and just keep making sure that stuff is clean. Now, if there's stuff clogged in there, the equipment's still going to start, it's still going to run, but it's going to be running at the higher temperature ranges, and all
Okay.
that's doing is knocking life off your product, right?
Okay.
So that engine maybe should have lasted you, you know, 1,500 hours of runtime or more, and maybe you got 600 or 700 hours. It's like, oh, this thing's a piece of crap, right? It's like, no,
Really?
it's overheated, right? So keep the cooling air open, flow freely. And then the other thing is dirt. So, you know, we use all very high quality air filtration systems, you know, to keep that dirt out of that engine. But you got to picture that little piston that's moving up and down in that engine. You know, some of our engines are, you know, running 12,000 RPM. That's that piston literally traveling up to the top of its travel, stopping, reversing direction, traveling down, and doing that sometimes up to 160 times in a second. So
Holy
just
crap.
think, you know, by the time you said 1001, that piston's gone up and down, you know, over 160 times in 1 second. And if you get even a little bit of dirt in there, it's like a high speed abrasive, right? You get some dirt in there and that thing's moving that fast, it just grinds away at that engine. And again, it drastically reduces the life of your engine. So, you know, in your applications, you're blowing up a lot of dust, a lot of dirt. You know, you don't need to change your air filter every day, but take that air filter out of your air filter box, tap it on a hard surface, just knock anything loose off of there, put it back in there. That's just going to ensure that dirt never finds its way into the engine. If you replace your air filter in a commercial use, you know, we usually say every 6 months if you're using it year long. Obviously, in your trade, that's not the case. So usually once a year is sufficient. If you're taking it out on a daily, maybe even every other day, and just tapping on a hard surface, get that dirt debris off that filter. Because if you keep that dirt on that filter long enough, eventually, you know, it just kind of works its way through the filter, and there's no such thing as 100% efficient air filter. Some of that dirt's going to eventually find its way into the engine if you don't maintain it properly.
Dang, man. I
Yeah.
didn't
So
realize that.
yeah, so maintain air filters, keep your cooling air intakes nice and free. You eliminate heat, you eliminate dirt. That engine's going to provide you with as long of a service that it was designed to provide you.
Cool. Man, that's some crazy stuff. I didn't realize that. And that was having that big of an impact. You know,
Yeah,
to double the life of it just by making sure that your areas are free and your air filters are free and
yeah,
things. Uh, you know, not only you already when you get it and you let's say you get 5 or 6 years out of it, you're like, that was a great value.
right.
Well, man,
Yeah,
if you can get 12, 13, 14 years
yeah,
out of it, you're definitely going to be like, dang, man, this thing's got some value. I won't even be able to hang them on the wall as memory pieces anymore, man. They'll still be on the units doing their
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Cool. Jason, thank you so much for all that info, man. It was absolutely interesting and fantastic. I
yeah,
love hearing that kind of stuff. And, you know, I'm not maybe the big tech guy that wants to know all the little specs and
sure.
everything, but I definitely want to know how to get the most out of it and have it be very efficient and reliable to the maximum ability. And those pieces
Yeah,
of advice were fantastic for that.
yeah,
All right, my friend. Now, before we go,
yeah.
we do a pod decks here.
Okay.
We had one a while back, which I've said this on every podcast now, maybe because it was my favorite one. NASCAR Truck Series champion Ben Rhodes got one on here, and it was, is a hot dog a sandwich or not, and why? And you talk about a brain buster, like that one,
Right.
that
Yeah.
stumped, you know, civilization went back at least 50 years with that question. So well, I'm going to bust one out here real quick,
Okay.
and we'll see how it goes. All right.
Sounds
Just so you
good.
know, I'm not cheating. I'm gonna look like this way. All right, man. This is a good one. Now, it's only good because I know most of the staff there at Echo now, and they're all great, wonderful people. But
Yeah.
all right, if you could look through one person's email without them knowing, whose email would you look through? It don't have to be at Echo. I don't want you put on blast for that, but
Yeah. Right.
whose would it be, you
If
think?
I could go through one person's email. That I have to think about this one because I only get one person. And who do I find? I'd say just because I follow him a lot, Jocko. I'm
Oh
a big
yeah,
fan of
Jocko
his.
Willink.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I
yeah.
could just imagine like every email he sends is probably like motivational and inspirational, like
Yeah.
right, like even like to like, hey, what do you want to do for lunch today or something? It's probably some big
Oh, you
motivational.
know it is.
Yeah, I love everything that guy says and his opinions on things and the way he words things. So I'd love to cruise through his email inbox.
Very cool. I think that'd be a good one. You probably write it. I guarantee you could probably write a book. If it was said Jocko's email replies. Like, you don't even
Right.
need to know the first one that
Yeah.
came in. Just the reply to it would be fantastic.
Right.
Yeah, I'd read
Exactly.
that one. That'd be a good one. And it would be great on audiobook to have him read it with the enthusiasm that he replied
Right.
back to it with. That was a really good answer. Very good, Jason. Cool. All right. Jason, once again, we thank you very much. The asphalt industry, I know, does as well, having you on here to kind of answer some of these questions and take some of our insights. I'm sure we're going to get plenty of messages of, yes, bring the steel bristled rotary head alive, bring it to us.
Yeah.
For myself here at Blacktop Banter and for Jason at Echo, this has been episode 70. And we really thank you for being on here. It was a pleasure, honestly, Jason.
Yeah, no, likewise. It was great. I appreciate the invite. Good conversation. And anytime you want to regroup, I'll be here for you.
Cool, man. Well, if we get some questions, we're definitely going to bring them back to you because,
Okay.
this is all new territory for us to have somebody be like, hey, man, how can we help you out? What questions do you have? What things is it? So here at Blacktop Banter, our motto is we speak asphalt. And now we got some green industry companies speaking asphalt a little bit, and we really appreciate it. And as always, we want you to seal it, pave it, stripe it, and kill it. Peace.